What's happening, Achievers? Ajay here from Invincible Achievers. Anyone that knows my story, when I was young, I used to be very confident. I used to be able to dance like Michael Jackson, and in front of people. And not only that, I used to be able to speak very, very well. But then at the age of 12, something happened to me that changed my life completely. I lost my voice, and I didn't know how it happened or why it happened, but I lost my voice where people could not understand me anymore. And it was a prime time at my age, at anyone's age, 12, when testosterone starts boosting through the system, and you want to press people, you want to show your confidence, you want to be the one. But people couldn't understand me. In my head, I could hear my voice. When I was speaking, I could hear my voice. But the way it was coming out was just noise. And through operations, through procedures, the doctors couldn't figure it out. And it used to frustrate me. It used to frustrate me when I used to speak to people. And then I used to understand. And they used to constantly say, what? And I had to continuously try over and over and over again. And this upset of me wanting to always be confident, but my confidence being knocked down, used to create frustration. And from frustration, I used to get angry. And I used to come home. I remember I used to come home and run upstairs into my room, shut the door, and just sit on the side of my bed and just feel so frustrated. And then anger, and just feel like punching a hole in the wall. And one day I sat there in anger, and just frustrated and anger building up. And I thought to myself, why am I feeling these emotions? And I realized that emotions exist for the one sole purpose. And that one sole purpose is to let you know that a set of rules that you've set for yourself is not being met. So with myself, I had set the rules that I would always be confident. I wanted to be confident. I wanted to be the center of attention, let's say. And that was not being met because all I got back was what? And that caused so much frustration, which from frustration led to anger. And anger was a spiral downwards. And doing it consistently created the fuel to my fire. And so from that realization of the emotions just being a call for action, I start thinking to myself, if it's a call for action, the negative emotion, this negative emotion that I'm feeling as I'm sitting on the side of my bed, I'm thinking this, I'm feeling these emotions. What can I do to get rid of this negative emotion of anger and frustration? And this is true for any emotion. And an answer came back to me was, there's two things I can do. One is change the rule that I've set, or I can figure out how to make myself feel better. So if I'm going to change my rules, maybe I've set my bar too high. I mean, by all means, there is a comfort zone, and we always need to step outside of the comfort zone, and that's growth. But sometimes what can happen is we can set ourselves an impossible task, a massive task. Say, for instance, you're earning 20,000 a year, and then you decide that you're going to set a goal for yourself of earning 20 million pounds in a year. You're going to have a feeling of frustration, anger, overwhelm that's going to be pushing you to get to that stage. And you might not hit that in a year. By all means, it's possible, but you might not hit it. But if you do hit it, you're going to go through a massive process of change, and emotion is what's going to push you, because emotions are there to push you to call for action. And the negative emotions is basically going to be saying, this is not what you were meant to be doing. You're meant to be pushing yourself, and you push yourself to reach that stage. So you could set the bar slightly lower, which is outside your comfort zone, but achievable. And then once you reach that, keep setting it higher. The other one is to change the emotion. And the second process is what I went through. Well, I went through both. So I thought, okay, how do I change this emotion? And it's something that I always say, you need to know the outcome. What do you want? So what I wanted was, out from the frustration and anger, I wanted to feel happiness. I wanted to feel joy. So that's the opposite. So always think of what the opposite is. So if the opposite of, for instance, anger is, say, laughter, frustration is joy, hate is love, overwhelm is feeling of freedom, you have to know what your target is. If you don't know what your target is, what you want, then you're just going to be stuck in this emotion. The second thing to ask is, why do I feel this? Why do I feel this emotion? Like for myself, nobody would understand what I was saying, and that caused frustration. So I felt that. So that's the reason why I felt frustrated. But why did I start feeling angry? Because I wasn't able to talk. I wanted to talk. I wanted to not feel lonely anymore. I wanted to feel like people can talk and respond back. And this is true for anything. If you're feeling hatred, why do you feel hatred? If you feel jealousy, why do you feel that jealousy? But then how can you feel the opposite? Because you've already figured that out in step one. How can you feel the opposite? So this process, I start thinking, saying, okay, I'm feeling angry. How can I feel joy and happiness? I thought, well, what I can do is, why don't I get involved in stuff in a group that you don't have to talk much? Martial arts is great. When you're getting punched in the face, no one's talking to you. When you get hit in the stomach or you're in a headlock, you can't really speak. So I'll do that. I'll find a martial art club. In the gym, you put your headphones on. There's a lot of people there. You're in proximity with other weightlifters. Might as well go there. You don't have to talk much. Not much communication there. That was my plan. You got to figure out what your plan is. So just from that process, I thought, okay, that's cool. Now I've got that. What do I do next? So whilst I was sitting on the bed, starting to feel much more happier about myself, just going through step one and step two, I felt more freedom, more relief, because I knew what I could do. But now came the step of what I should do. And that was to find a martial art club, to find a gym. And I had to execute. There was no point in just dreaming this and think, yay, I feel great. Walk out, try speaking to someone and they don't understand, and I get frustrated and back in my room, punch a hole in the wall and think, oh, it's just, you have to execute. You need to figure out where the martial art club is. You need to figure out where the gym is. You need to figure out whatever you've decided, you need to execute, because Tony Robbins says this, motion equals emotions. So I had to make movement. I had to put movement in place. So once I moved, I found a martial art club. I found a gym. I joined it. I started to do it. At the age of 12, I couldn't. At the 12, I joined a taekwondo club. So it was a taekwondo martial arts where I trained. And at the age of 16, I joined a gym. But whilst doing all the exercises, I was training in my own area with the weights and stuff. So I had a group where I didn't have to speak, but I felt like a part. And my frustration and anger started to subside. And I was able to release it. Felt great. But step 4, and this is the crucial point that I came to the realization in my years of silence, I call it, because it was 6 years of silence where my voice did not exist. And I came to the realization that there's a step 4. No person in history, no matter what they say, had been able to remove emotions, the negative emotions, no matter what they say. Every single person, even the spiritual gurus, have always had their emotions inside of them. They have never been able to get rid of them, no matter what people say, the stories. If they do get rid of the negative emotions that actually protect the body because it's a call for action or protection, that is jeopardizing the body. So you need those emotions. But the key here was every single person that's actually transcended from those emotions, they were just aware. Now, awareness is the key. When emotions start rising, you have to be aware. And then you have to put these actions in place. Why am I feeling these emotions? What should I do to get to the other side of my emotions, the happiness or whatever emotions I'm feeling? Great, let's put it into action, start moving. And you have to do this on a consistent basis. There's no point in putting an armor on, protecting yourself, and then having a gaping hole here where some enemy can get through to you. You need to do it on a consistent basis, because if you don't do it on a consistent basis, you're putting a chink in your armor. You don't want to do that. It has to be consistent, because consistency creates the emotions, the power. Consistency is power because you are doing it on a constant basis, and it puts it into habit. It makes it into a habit. And from that, it was just awareness of the feeling. My emotions, I haven't got rid of anger. I still get anger. I still get frustrated. Before I used to last a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now it's just an hour or less. It's just like when I start feeling it, ooh, let's move away from this situation, this circumstances, let's move. Let's go to the gym, hit the bag. Emotions will always be there, but they are a good thing if you are aware of why they exist. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it just means you've maybe set the bar too high, or there's too much coming. Maybe you need to find another team that can help you out. Maybe you just need to ask for help. It's one of the biggest things that we find tough, to ask for help, because we are achievers. But there is no achiever out there that has achieved anything by themselves. They've always had someone behind them. Like the great saying that goes, any great powerful man has a powerful, loving woman behind him. And I do. And that's what we have to all know. So from that, I got myself up, found a martial art club, put myself in a route, a path of inner awareness rather than external at the age of 12 to 18. The prime time, couldn't impress anyone, just had to put an impression on myself. The realization of these steps has been able to help me in many different avenues, because it's just not anger, it's sadness, it's upset, it's overwhelm. All of these, you just could put the steps in place. So just remember, guys, there's a couple of things, key points here from that story. Emotions are a positive thing. Negative emotions, yeah, they feel rubbish, but they're there to protect us as long as we're aware of it. And we can get rid of this by step one, knowing the opposite emotion, so you know the target. Step two is lost the track here. So step one is opposite. Step two is asking why I feel this and how can I feel the good emotions. Step three is motion, execute and put it into place. And number four, constantly be aware. And guys, keep adding value to people's lives. Keep spreading the love. And just be aware, every emotion that we have is a positive emotion as long as we are using it for the good. Take care, guys.